Hey guys, we have an amazing, a very special guest today for our Truth Lies Shenanigans Spotlight. Today our spotlight is on Olympic medalist and world champion hurdler David Oliver. Welcome to the show, David.
Thanks for having me.
Got to tell you, buddy, I am honored to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm very honored. I got to admit.
Of course, and I'm representing Howard University as well, and
Thank
we're
you.
very
Thank
happy and very
you.
prideful, and with everything that's going on, positive around the university as well.
Yep. So let me introduce you to David Oliver. He's a former 110-meter hurdles champion, winning the bronze medal at the the gold medal at the World Championships in Moscow in 2013 with a time of 13 seconds. He won the bronze medal in the 2008 Olympic Games and won another bronze at the 2010 IAAF World Indoor Championships. He was an American record holder in the 110-meter hurdles. David is a four-time U.S. champion. He has a personal best of 12.89 seconds in the 110-meter hurdles, placing him fifth all-time on the all-time list at the time he retired in 2017. And he's currently the head of the track and field program at his alma mater, Howard University. David, did I miss anything? That's quite a resume, buddy. That's quite a resume.
Nah, I mean that pretty much covered all the bases, I think.
All right. So my first question to you is, how are you doing? How are you and your family handling the coronavirus? Has it affected your training? Has it affected your workout? I know it affected their program at Howard. How are you guys just doing?
Well, personally, it's devastating, but it's not like myself or staff or the program are the only people going through the COVID situation. It's negatively affected the program big time. Having the outdoor season canceled, losing our senior leadership last spring, and then at the university making the decision to not return to campus this fall. Means that we're going to have to spend all our preparation for this 2021 indoor season. They're going to have to do it at home on their own. We have a
Wow.
conference championship. We have our conference championship in the third week of February, so we'll only have eyes on the group for about 6 to 7 weeks before we have to go compete for a championship. But like I told the team and talk to them often is you control what you can control, and it's usually just our mindsets and our attitude and things like that. That's what we have total control over, and we'll just continue to do that. But I mean, family wise, everything's been good. And, having a 9-year-old and, pretty much housebound for the last, I don't even know what month this is this, but,
It's been a while.
just still finding ways to, keep them entertained. And with school starting back up, that's going to be a new horizon and a new challenge. But I think everybody will, we'll just adapt. I mean, we're humans. We're the most adaptable thing, kind of on earth. So we'll figure a way.
Yep, I hear you. All right. So tell us, let's get into your career. So tell us, what is it like being an Olympian? All that work leading up to that 13-second moment. I mean, what does it feel like? I mean, can you kind of describe it to us?
Well, being in the moment in the process and the build up for everything, everybody just looks at it as the Olympics, every 4 year thing. But for us, that's our career. Making the Olympics in 2008, that was just one part of the culmination of a career, that started when I graduated from Howard University in 2004. Having a pro career for those few years before that even happened, being in the moment is just like stuff that you expect.
Right.
When I was competing, it's just like, I'm doing well. I expect to do X, Y, and Z. And it's really not until you get done, you can really sit back and look at your career and, kind of process all of the great things that you were able to accomplish. But being an Olympian is great. and then winning a medal as well is even better,
Yeah.
because you go to the Olympic Games, you get fourth place. It's just you just get a tap on the back, thanks for coming, and good luck with the rest of your season. That's kind of how it works. But I mean, once you're an Olympian, you're always an Olympian, no matter what year, and it's a great honor to be able to go out there and represent the country and family, and just it's a lot of work. It's so hard to explain. Training for me started first week of October, and the season ends in September. So it's just a grueling every single day. You're by yourself. I played football at Howard University, and you have 10 other teammates that you can rely on whenever you're might not be on for that day. But in a sport like track and field, it's all on you.
On you.
And it's up to you to get it done. And that's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and it's really tough. But I think I have the perfect mindset for it.
Yeah, no question. So I watched a lot of video on you, and there was a couple of races that kind of stood out to me. So I'm gonna just show some quick videos real quick. I just
On
want
the spot.
yeah, I'm gonna show some video of you real quick. All right. So, here we go. So this was a race in Shanghai.
Woo!
Magnificent run, and Lucian's going to take Oliver on this occasion. Lucian wins in Oliver second, and Merritt in third, 13.09. And David Oliver, just for once, was all over the place, hitting hurdles everywhere.
So I picked out this one on purpose. So you came in second place there, right?
Right.
But you raced him again not long after that, right?
Like 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, and you got to see what this guy did to him.
Right there together. Lucian has a slight lead. Oliver is second. Here they come now. Oliver takes over. Here comes the final hurdle. It's
Dude, that was awesome. So how do you?
Yeah, that was an interesting period. That at that point, I remember that race in Shanghai. That was the first time I had lost a 110-meter race in well over a year. I mean, I think that was in May 2011. The last time I think I lost a race was in September of 2009. So
Wow.
that was the first time I had lost, and then of course I just heard about that for every single day, pretty much from that point all the way until we raced against each other at the Prefontaine a couple weeks later. So, we were over there at his home country, and he got the win, and I was glad that I was able to come and we meet again on my home country soil, and I was able to represent well for and get the win at that time.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. It looked like I'm gonna just hold on. I want to go back to it real quick, because it looked like you put everything into this race. Like you were
absolutely
you were flawless. I want to say you were flawless. I'm gonna just play it again. I'm gonna play it again. Hold on.
Yeah, take that L, man.
There's the start.
Here we go.
Here's the first hurdle. Oliver and Shang right there together. Lucian has a slight lead. Oliver is second. Here they come now. Oliver takes over. Here comes the final hurdle. It's David Oliver. Lucian at the line in 12.94.
That's the fastest time in the world. And David Oliver, you think he didn't want a little bit of revenge for Shanghai? He was shell-shocked when Song blew him away from the start in Shanghai.
Yeah.
Today, not today.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so beautiful about the sport of track and field, man. You always get a chance to redeem yourself. But and I mean, at the end of the day, unless you're like some of the most special people ever, you always take more L's than you do getting wins in the sport. And that's what I try to impart on the student athletes that I'm in charge of now is, track and field like life. You're going to take a lot of knocks, a lot of L's, but you just got to keep on rising to the occasion and, being able to step up and rise to the occasion. But I mean, it doesn't matter because, in a couple of weeks you have another race. So you got to keep it going, or, somebody else will come out there and dethrone you.
All right, Lizzie.
So let's take it back to the beginning. How does a track athlete choose to be a hurdler? Like, what is that process like?
I really don't think anybody chooses the hurdles. I think people are just thrown into it, like myself. I got my start at Denver East High School, just kind of going out out there because my friends were on the track team and I wasn't doing anything spring sports related. But catching the 20 bus home was kind of boring, so I just went out there, joined up to the team, and was a sorry long jumper and triple jumper at the time. That's where the coach said, put me in that at first, and I was not very good at all. My teammates nicknamed me DJ Scratch because I could never get on the board, so that was always like a running joke at that time. But we had a relay meet and shuttle hurdle relay, and I was one of the taller guys at the time, so we needed a fourth leg. And my coach Betsy Freeman Allen, she said, "Here's what we're gonna do." And I was like, "Well, what am I supposed to do with these? I mean, I've never done this before." And she told, "Set your blocks like when you sprint and take 3 steps in between." And we ended up doing that. And when I got done, she told me, "I think you have a new event." And then from that point forward, that's all I did was run hurdles. So it wasn't even like it chose. They just, I got tossed in there, and I only did track just so I could try to get faster for football and do well in that side of things. That was always going to be it's still, my first love. But and then here we are.
Awesome.
Is there some type of, on the team, competition between the sprinters and the hurdlers?
It's always. I think it's always competition. I can even talking with myself. Just bring it back to my training and preparation throughout my pro career. Some of my best friends were my competitors. We trained together, we lived together. And we're still great friends now. But but when we stepped to the line, we had to be competitors. But when we left, we're back friends. You can be competitors. You don't have to be rivals, though. And I think on the team now, it's more of a team environment. So the sprinters are going to root for the jumpers, who are going to root for the hurdlers, who's going to root for the throwers. So, we score points as a collective, and that's what we need to come together to do well as a team. So I don't really think there's any kind of, rivalries or things like that. But, it's probably competition within the groups because, if we have 5 or 6 sprinters, only 3 of them can travel, and compete for the university. So it's always, at practice is, you got to try to earn your spot. And, that's what is great about track and field is it's a meritocracy. The times they don't lie. If you're at practice and you're getting, 5th out of 6 people, rep after rep after rep, when that travel list comes out, it is no surprise why you do not travel. So it's hyper competitive. And that's the one thing that I love the most about the sport.
So are you jumping hurdles with your athletes? Like when they're training, are you out there?
Good question.
Them days are long gone. I go and, might do a drill or 2 here and there. But those days are long gone. I did some reps. We were at a meet one time, and the next day I was like, whoa, my knees, hips, everything's feeling sore. So I mean, it was time. I mean, having a pro career beyond the age of 35, which I had, was that was probably more than enough hurdling for my body.
Robbie, you got any questions?
Yeah, so you seem to have a really illustrious sports career, and that's amazing. Congratulations. I'm really blown away by your accomplishments. I'm just curious who some of your greatest inspirations are along the way outside of the athletic world.
Oh, absolutely. My greatest aspiration is always going to be my mother, Brenda Chambers. She's the one that, she was a hurdler back, at University of Colorado and high school, things like that. And, it was always the support in the corner, whether things were going well or things were going bad, it never wavered. So that's always going to just be my inspiration. So it was always her. I never really looked at, other, athletes and things like that for, as inspiration or kind of role models or anything like that personally. But I mean, of course you do like their achievements and what they can do, but I think having more of an intimate knowledge of someone is what leads them to be more kind of like role model for myself.
That's a wonderful answer.
I have another quick question. So you and I have 2 connections. We both are at Howard University, but you're from Colorado, and I went to the University of Colorado. And so Colorado has at least at that time, had a very strong track program. And so we've been talking recently about top athletes in the country choosing to go to HBCUs. So why did you choose to go to Howard
Great question.
over?
Oh, that's excellent. I mean, that's a great topic of conversation that we're hearing right now, and I'm talking to certain members of the team about it who are very intrigued with the conversation as well. For me, what led me to coming to the nation's capital and attending Howard was just research. When I was making a college decision, Howard University is very strong in Denver, Colorado. We have a big alumni base there. And, knowing the university, doing my research on the university. And, I knew I didn't want to go to school like in the rural areas or anything like that. I wanted to attend a HBCU. And, of course, it was the best, it's the best in the country. So that's where I chose to go. I wrote the university, the track department, probably 10 letters to try to start the recruiting process. And, thankfully the coach was able to kind of come out after he got the job and saw me run and offered me a scholarship. And so that it was all said and done. As soon as I got that offer, I was going to Howard right then and there. I remember the conversation that I first had with Coach Merritt, and my mom answered the phone when he called, and then she called my name, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's the coach from Howard!" And then she gave me the phone. I talked to him for it was probably at least an hour on the phone, and then when I got done, and she wanted to know, oh, what was he saying? What was he talking about? I was like, oh, well, he's going to come out to the regional meet, and he said if he likes what he sees, he's going to offer me a scholarship. And I said, so I know he's going to like what he sees, so I'm going to go to Howard. And then that was it. And as soon as he comes, offers me the scholarship, and then here, University of Colorado and these other places coming to, try to up offers and offer me, scholarships, things like that. But I was already dead set on going to Howard University.
Beautiful.
Nice.
East, you have a question?
Yeah. Like in this country, in the United States, it seems like for the Olympics, for the Olympians, it's so focused on gold. Like if you don't win gold, it's a failure. Oh, that athlete's disappointed, won the silver, the bronze, or whatever. Can you speak to, once again, the hard work that it takes so that the winners of the bronze and the silver can be more celebrated? Like that's an accomplishment, I feel. But I think you already said it. Like it's an accomplishment to make the team. So could you just kind of speak to winning the bronze at the Olympics, like how happy you were, just how joyous of an event that was for you? And I have a follow-up.
Right, absolutely. That was a huge achievement. I mean, to say that, maybe silver and bronze isn't as celebrated as the gold, I guess that's everything. The winner should be the most celebrated person. But I think that within the sport and, within the confines of what we're doing, that a bronze and a silver are celebrated, just as much as, winning the gold, because, it's only 3 of those medals get passed out every 4 years. So and to be able to come home with one of those is a huge accomplishment. So I don't really think anybody downplays anything. When I came back to my room at the Village, I with my roommates, they were all there celebrating. You would have thought I won the gold medal because the way that we were all treated, myself and David Payne, the American who got the silver in that year. It was a huge celebration. So but yeah, of course, everybody wants to win. That's the name of the game. But sometimes it's just not your day, or it's not your time, or whatever it is. In athletics, timing is everything. And if you're just a little bit off on that day, there is no game 2 or game 3 or whatever, or second set to try to regroup. It's over in 13 seconds flat. 4 years, and through the prelims, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, into the finals, you have to get it right on that day. No matter if you're the world record holder, if you don't get it right on that day, sorry, thanks for coming. We'll see you in another 4 years, or probably at the World Championships the next year, but still Olympic-wise, we'll see you in another 4 years, hopefully. Because, just like for me, having a great success in 2008, I'd never made the Olympics again in 2012 or 2016 when I was, at the trials, because both times I got injured. In 2012 or 16, I was the fastest American, and rolling, doing well. And then in the semifinals, I was coming across the finish line and hurt my hamstring, and the finals were in like I think 45 minutes or something. So there was nothing I could do. I couldn't even make the line to even start for the final race. So you think you might have opportunities after opportunities, but you just never know. You may never see that opportunity ever again.
All right, now I have I have a question about your current role as the director of track and field coach. So Hampton University just left the MEAC. A&T's leaving, and my alma mater, Florida A&M, is leaving. How is that going to impact the track program at Howard?
Well, for us in the track program, I don't think that really affects us as much as it may affect other programs, because we don't really have a quote unquote conference schedule. So we really only compete against those programs at the MEAC championships. From a holistic view, I think that it's really kind of unfortunate for the conference. But a lot of programs, you have to do what you have to do in order to kind of survive in this climate. And I understand with the travel restrictions and things like that with Florida A&M and stuff, they have to do what's best for them. What I think is most important is that the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, find a couple teams and keep the ball rolling with the conference. This has been a storied conference. This is the 50th anniversary of the conference. And it's a very strong track and field conference. I mean, we're, when it comes to conferences, when we're talking on the East Coast, the MEAC is, kind of right there, probably just a notch below your SEC and stuff like that. When we're talking about the level of kids that we, send to the East Regionals or to the NCAA finals. So we're a strong track and field conference, and I think that the powers in the MEAC office will be able to replace those programs and still keep us on that same track.
All right. I have a question. We have a bunch of fantastic viewer questions, but I have one last question before we get to those.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you know, the fight against police brutality is raging right now. So, and many sports icons are taking a knee in protest. What are your thoughts on taking a knee? And if you were competing in the Olympics now, do you think you would take a knee if you made it to the medal stand?
I loved the knee when Colin Kaepernick was doing it, but now I think it's just become kind of more performative. And now I think when a protest is accepted, that it kind of loses its impact a little bit. Seeing like the NBA and stuff like it's cool, but I mean, I wish that they would have done that, a handful of years ago.
Right.
When Kaepernick was on his own and doing it. But I mean, it's great to, show signs of solidarity. And, it would be, I think that, me personally, I would want to do something that would draw some sort of attention to the plight and things that's going on right now. Knee on the medal stand, a fist, whatever it may be. I think we're going to see a lot of that next year at the Olympic Games. And, and that's great. But I think that it has become a little bit more performative than maybe impactful. And I think it would have had a larger impact in 2016, 2017, when kind of Colin Kaepernick and Kenny Stills and folks like that were kind of on their own doing it. I wish I would have seen more people doing it then.
Okay. So there's a great question from Ernest Cooper. And so how did you overcome the frustration of getting injuries?
Injuries is just kind of part of the game, and you know it going into it. So, like I said earlier, when we were talking about the COVID situation, you just control what you can control. Once you go down with an injury, it's just like coming off that great year in 2008, and you think everything's going to be fine and everything's going to be gravy for 2009 season, and I run a world leading time in May, and then I go to practice like a week later and tore my calf and the tendon that attaches it to the bone running a 200 just in training, and that was it, season over. And world championships, can't go to the USA championships and defend that title. And it was, it's rough, but, you just have to be mentally tough. And that's what I think, really helped me through a lot of things was just my mentality. You know, if I could just give these kids that I coach now one thing that I possess, it would just be my mentality
So,
and the want to get it done.
so he had another question, which was really great. So, thoughts on transgender athletes competing in women events? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's really big, and you know, I think that we need to protect women's sports at at all costs. You know, I don't really know all the details that go into, hormone therapy and things like that. But, I think that women need to their women's sports need to be protected by whoever the powers that be. And they can make the rules. I know they're way more smarter than me and make way more money than I do to make those kind of decisions. And they need to, figure out a way so that everybody can go out here and, be able to compete and represent, because that's important to everyone.
Can you?
That's a question that I get asked a lot. As a sports journalist, it's a question that I get asked a lot in terms of what's my opinion on it. And I kind of feel the same way you do. I am not an expert. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
enough about science behind it. However, at the same time, I do want to protect the female athletes who could presumably be competing against
Mm-hmm.
a biologically male athlete where they really have no shot. And so
Right.
I keep trying to tell people I need to educate myself more before I make a formal statement about it. And then there are people who ask about, Caster Semenya, and I'm like, that's a different conversation because he is not transgender. That's a completely
Mm-hmm.
different topic. So there's
Yeah.
so many things that go into this conversation that I think the sport has not caught up to just yet. And so we're just going to keep having these questions over and over. But I totally agree with you. Like, I don't know. I personally do not know.
All right, we're running short
I
on
don't know
time.
either. The answers, but just protect our women athletes and their ability to go out here and represent and win and make a living, and let the powers that be, they can figure out all the rules and regulations that go along with it.
All right. So we're running short on time, so I'm going to try to get these last couple of questions because they're really good. Can you talk about the pressures of using steroids and drugs during your career, especially during that time when so many athletes were suspected of drug use? And that's from
Oh yeah,
Vaughn Perry.
absolutely.
Good question. Good question.
Absolutely. I really think that it's environmental factors that play a role into it, and it's kind of unfortunate that you see the athletes are the ones that are kind of get dragged into it. But like myself, I went into a professional environment right out of college, and my coach Brooks Johnson was extremely supportive, and was not about performance enhancing drugs and things like that. His track record of, coaching for, 50 years, spoke to that. But you'd find some of these young athletes who are, might leave college after their freshman year, have an outstanding season, or sophomore year. You're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds going into an environment where a coach comes up to you, a coach who's supposed to have your best interest at heart, and saying, here's what you need to do, this in the morning, this before practice, and this at night. And you kind of just probably follow behind what they tell you to do. And I think that's where we find a lot of issues with, these athletes and performance enhancing drugs. I think that a lot of attention needs to be placed on the coaches and the agents, because, they're supposed to be the authority figures when we're talking about this. I mean, if you're, whatever the names are, if you look, there's always some sort of common denominator between them all somewhere along the lines. And, but thankfully for me, I feel like in the hurdles, there is no performance enhancing drug to, get you the technique that you need to be able to, negotiate those 10 barriers that are 42 inches high and 10 yards apart. I don't think they've invented anything to help you with that. So, that was, I feel like, the saving grace. And if you look at the event of the hurdles, I don't think we have a strong history of performance enhancing drugs. And, we're not pretty much a speed power events, pure speed, pure power events like your 100 meters, 200 meters, stuff like that. But it's unfortunate. But, Now that I'm a fan of it, of the sport, and I just kind of watch on TV, I want to see the best people out there performing. And, but that, I mean, my views and things have changed since I was competing. It's like, oh man, these people are, doing X, Y, Z, need to be, out of the events and get out of the sport and stuff like that. Now it's just entertainment to me, like everything else.
All right. This will be the last question. So this is from Dario Winter. The hard work that you were disciplined enough to put in mattered to you, as you stated. Do you find that the younger athletes understand that same concept?
Oh man, it's hard to say. I mean, I deal with some that do, and I deal with others that do not. But the thing that you have to realize is that when you're dealing with 18 to 21-year-old young adults, they're not on the same quest as say somebody that's on the elite level. I tried to handle myself like I was on the elite level or something like that, even in college. But that still didn't stop me from doing dumb stuff and making boneheaded mistakes. Hell, I got kicked off the team my sophomore year because I missed practice 2 days. And I was the conference champion in the hurdle event. So I mean, you're talking about young, immature people, and I think some do understand. But like I tell them, you don't come to college to be a 2.0 student. Don't be a 2.0 athlete either. Just try to give everything you got, and just let the chips fall where they may. Everybody's not meant to be an All-American. Everybody's not meant to be a conference champion. Success is different for all the student athletes that I coach, but they'll all be successful at something along the line.
And I do have to throw in this one last question. So, do you drink milk? This is from my sister. That's why I'm throwing it in. Do you drink milk? The commercials growing up said drink milk. So, was that something that you did growing up?
I mean, yeah, when I ate cereal. I used to put milk with my protein shakes or whatever, and I drink those, but then I switched over to just putting water in those as well. So, I don't think I was too much of a milk drinker outside of putting it with my cereal.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do want to thank you for joining us, David. I'm gonna see you on Saturday. I hope. Some boxing. David and I take a boxing class together at Posh Cycling and Fitness, Posh.fit. Another shameless plug. Check out Posh Cycling and Fitness, Posh.fit. But David,
also, school starts Monday, so I think I'll have some of your athletes in my classes starting on Monday. So yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a interesting adventure for us all to see how things go again. We had a dry run in the spring, so hopefully it'll be pretty seamless this fall.
Yeah. So you're not doing any track and field this season, right?
Well, the fall they'll be training at home. The ones that are local will still get together and do training, but we're talking about a handful of student athletes compared to the 60 or so that are on the team. So most of them are unable to travel back. Yep. Unfortunately, the university had to make that call, with everything in the city. I mean, everybody answers to everybody. So we can have all the plans in the world, but if, the big bosses come in and, kind of shut things down, and so be it, you just got to follow along.
Well, David, we'd love to have you back just for maybe just a regular show one day, just to have you come back and talk to us. I know you love hockey, so maybe one of those shows will bring you back if you'd like to come
for
back.
Sure. Yeah, this was very enjoyable. Great conversation and great conversing with you guys.
All right. Thank you so much, David.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Man.
All right, guys.
Woo!
That's incredible.
Another great guest. David was good, huh?
Yeah, really good, really good. And again, when and this is what I try to import on my students in terms of when they are doing interviews or when they are preparing for a paper, you have to do your research. And so when you said David Oliver, he's going to be on the show, I'm like, okay, yeah, Olympian, world champion, whatever. I didn't know all of the connections that we had that he and I had until I started to do research. So I think that that's a lesson for everybody. Like every topic, everything that you take on, you have to do your research before you come to the table.
Yep. All right, guys.